There's a brutal disconnection happening on LinkedIn right now, especially for high-level founders. You're smart. You've built things. You've got the credentials, the team, the track record. But on LinkedIn, you're invisible. Your profile, it's not booking calls. Your content isn't really converting. And your DMs are going unanswered or attract the wrong people. And deep down, it's confusing. Because you know that you're better than half the people winning on this particular platform. You see the loud ones, and you see them getting traction. The flashy ones going viral. The people who, let's be honest, don't have half your credibility, pulling in leads while you're getting crickets. So what the hell is the problem? It's not intelligence. It's not a misaligned trust assets. Here's what it is. Being smart doesn't automatically build trust online. Being successful offline doesn't translate by default. And if your profile and your content don't express the right kind of credibility, your audience is going to tune out. LinkedIn's not broken, it's just emotionally specific. And most smart founders, they use LinkedIn like a resume when it needs to be used as a trust funnel. So in this video, we're going to break it down. The subtle credibility gaps that are killing your traction. The profile tone that repels real clients. The invisible friction that you're creating in your brand. And the one positioning shift that changes everything. This isn't about posting more. It's about showing up differently. Because once your brand reflects the depth that you already have, the right people are going to start leaning in. Okay? So let's dig into the first credibility killer. A profile that feels safe, smart, and forgettable. Okay? This is the polished profile problem. All right? Your profile looks professional, right? Clean, clear, safe. You got the headline, you got the banner, you got the bullet points. It reads like a LinkedIn pro even touched it. But that's the problem. It doesn't really move anyone. Because here's what no one is going to tell you. A professional profile often signals nothing. It's polished, but it's not personal. It's clear, but it's not compelling. And the most common mistake founders are making right now is that they optimize for neutrality, not resonance. They are so afraid of sounding all hypey that they strip out all the edge, specificity, and the emotion that actually builds trust. Your story, sanitized. Your offer, generic. Your personality, it's missing. So when someone reads your profile, even if they should be your ideal client, they feel nothing. No spark, no pull, no urgency to click connect or book a call. Because here's what people are really looking for when they actually check your profile. Do I feel something? Do I see myself in this? Do I trust that this person understands my problem? A clean profile doesn't answer those. A real one does. And you don't need more buzzwords. You need to sound like a human that your ideal client actually wants to talk to. So here's the shift, okay? Instead of building a LinkedIn profile to impress people, you build one that speaks to the emotional moment your ideal client is already in. So let's break down exactly how to do that, okay? We're going to do that a little bit later in the video. But first, we need to talk about your content voice. Because the same thing that's killing your profile is also killing your posts. Okay? Here's exactly why your content doesn't build trust. You're posting, right? You're consistent. You got smart takes, clear formatting, and solid ideas. So why isn't it converting? Here's the honest answer. Might not like it. Your content is probably respected, but it's not trusted. And those are not the same thing. Respected content, it makes people think. Smart post, well written, good point, okay? Trusted content, it makes people say something different. This person gets me. I need to work with them. They have been where I am. Most smart founders, they play too high up on the ladder. They write for peer approval. They default to their expertise. They seem to forget that clients don't hire you because you're smart. They hire you because you create emotional safety, not to mention clarity. And if your content doesn't name the moment that they're stuck in, reflect the real consequences of staying there, show proof of your relevance without screaming, "Hey, look at me," then it's going to fade right into that noise. And that's what most people miss. High trust content, it's not just about sharing what you know. It's about how you share it. The tone matters. The specificity matters. The energy behind your posts matters. If your voice feels emotionally distant, even if the insights are brilliant, it's not going to land. It's going to feel cold and unavailable, like you're not really for them. So here's the fix. You got to start writing from the moment of decision that your ideal client is in. Not from your strategy deck, but from their stress. Once you do that, you stop sounding like a thought leader and you start sounding like the solution. Okay? So let's cover the quiet positioning mistake that keeps smart people sounding like everybody else, even when they're elite. Okay? This is the generic genius trap. We've all fallen into it. It hurts because it's where the best founders quietly lose the room. You've got real experience. You've solved deep problems. You've earned your perspective through pain, risk, and results. But when it comes time to describe what you do, this is when you fall into the generic genius trap. Your offer, it becomes something like this. I help founders scale. I work with leaders on growth. I help people unlock performance. Do you hear that? It's all true, but it's all meaningless. Because none of that language really communicates who you really serve, what you actually fix, why you're different from the next 10 people who say the same exact thing. This is the trap. The smarter you are, the harder it is to niche your genius. You can help almost anyone. You've solved a wide range of problems. And you do operate at a high level. But online, that breadth, it waters down your signal. You stop sounding like a category of one, and you start sounding like a LinkedIn archetype. So here is the shift. Instead of describing what you do, describe what happens after people work with you. Be surgical, be visual, be undeniable. Say things like, we turn ghosted profiles into booked calls within 21 days. We help post-exit founders build a personal brand that doesn't feel gross. We rebuild pipeline without cold DMs or public spectacles. Now you sound like a category of one. Now trust builds. Now someone scrolling pauses and clicks. Let's dive into how to actually audit your entire presence through the lens of friction and why most founders create trust leaks that they don't even see. Here are some trust leaks, okay? This is the silent client repellent. All right, you've done the work. You're credible. You are posting regularly. And still, people hesitate. They don't reach out. They love your content, but they never buy. They lurk instead of lean in. That's a trust leak. Trust leaks are tiny moments of friction, okay? They're unconscious signals that tell your ideal client the following. This person might not be safe. This might not work for me. Keep scrolling. And here's the kicker, guys. They're almost never about your work. They're about how your presence feels to them. So here are 5 of the most common trust leaks that you're going to see on LinkedIn. Vague positioning. If people can't repeat what you do in one sentence, they are not going to engage. 2, overpolished tone. When you sound like a brochure, you feel untouchable. 3, inconsistent content themes. If your topics swing wildly, people can't place you. 4, there's no clear proof, no results, screenshots, transformations. That equals non-conviction. 5, misaligned energy. If your writing doesn't match the emotional state of your audience, it's going to feel off. You might not see these, but your audience is going to feel them. And the solution, it's not necessarily more content, it's an audit. A ruthless look at how your presence is actually landing. You've got to ask yourself, what part of my brand feels safe but forgettable? Where am I sounding smart but not specific? Is my voice creating curiosity or comfort? You got to fix the leaks, and your same message, it'll start converting. Okay? Now, let's walk through the one positioning shift that fixes all of this and turns your presence into a quiet client magnet. All right? The expert over the guide shift. Right? Most founders, they position themselves as experts. It makes sense. You've earned it. You've built things. You've fixed things. You've sold things. However, this is the paradox. The more you position yourself as the expert, the more you're going to signal, this is about me. And the truth is, high-ticket clients, they don't hire experts. They hire guides. People who see the road ahead, understand the terrain, make it safer, faster, or more certain to get exactly where they are going. The expert says, look how much I know. Whereas the guide says, here's how we get you through this. That one shift, it's going to change everything. It shifts your tone from broadcasting to resonance, your profile from resume to relevance, your content from authority flex to emotional clarity, your offer from feature-rich to outcome-aligned. And this is the irony of it all. When you position yourself as a guide, your authority, it doesn't shrink, it actually expands. Because now it's in service to the client's story. It's not centered on yours. This is exactly how trust builds. It's not through expertise alone, but it's through empathy and proof. So if you're being overlooked, okay, if your traction, it doesn't match your talent, this is often the shift that you need. You got to stop trying to sound like the smartest person on the feed. And you got to start sounding like the clearest path forward. All right, so let's wrap this up. We're going to put it all together. And I'm going to give you a very practical filter that you can apply to your LinkedIn presence right now to start earning trust that converts. Okay? Here are the 3 questions that you need to ask on that trust audit. Okay? You don't really need a rebrand. You don't necessarily need a new offer. You don't even need to go viral. But you have to stop repelling the right people without even realizing it. So here's how to do that. Okay? Literally in under 10 minutes. Run your LinkedIn presence through this 3-question audit. Here we go. Number 1, would a stranger feel like I'm speaking to them? Okay? Most profiles and posts, they're written like a company bio. But people don't connect with brands. They connect with signals of safety. So ask yourself, am I naming real emotions or am I just listing facts? Am I reflecting where my ideal client actually is or where I want them to be? If your content feels like a lecture, people are not going to lean in. Okay? Number 2, does my brand show proof of transformation, not just opinion? Thought leadership, it isn't trust leadership. People don't just want ideas, they want outcomes. Okay, so you got to audit your presence. Am I showing before and after shifts? Am I sharing short human proof points, not just big wins? No screenshots? No mini case studies? You're likely leaking trust. Number 3, is there an emotional through line to all of this? If your content feels disconnected, unclear, or professional but flat, there's probably no emotional core to it. So you have to ask yourself, what do I feel when I read my last 5 posts? Would I message me? If the answer isn't a hell yes, neither will your audience. Okay? You gotta clean up those 3 areas, and your traction will then shift without necessarily posting more, without hacks, and without the noise. You're gonna stop sounding like an expert and finally start sounding like the person that they've been looking for, a true guide. All right? Subscribe to this channel for weekly breakdowns on brand, trust, and quiet growth. Check out my community if you're building a 6 or 7 figure brand without the chaos. Okay? All the links are in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.